It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Episode 18 of Two Guys and a Goalie. We survived another week. We are here on a Thursday, second episode of the week. It's episode 18 of Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, Joaquin Gage, and Hernan Salas. It is all brought to you by oddshark.com. We're going to actually have a new guest from Oddshark. He's going to join us today. Scott Hastings is going to join us. Sorry, Gager. I
wonder if he's a Matt Cassian fan. Maybe.
I don't even
like
know.
A super fan.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be amazing.
Cass, I watched you growing up as a child.
Oh, that would break me.
That would be incredible. That would be awesome.
Yeah, this isn't the same. I feel odd today.
Yeah, if you're just listening to our first ever,
Oddshark.
God, you're the worst. Yeah, you're gonna miss Chris Abbott. Chris Abbott's no longer with
really
Oddshark,
am.
and he was your one fan that we found so far. So,
we'll still have Twitter.
yeah, that's true. You're right. You can text him. I don't know if
He responds right away too.
Of course he does. He loves you.
That's great.
That would be the reason. So yeah, maybe Scott Hastings is a huge Matt Cassian fan. We'll have to try to get to the bottom of that when he joins us. But he'll join us around, halfway through the podcast today. Lots of other things to get to. Obviously, we will have your Popeyes chicken poll question. Try Popeyes legendary Louisiana chicken today. And keep it or clip it for Sports Clip Haircuts, home of the MVP experience. We will get to that as well. Episode 18. I was thinking of this last night as I was starting to prep for episode 18. I Googled best player in NHL history to wear 18.
Ooh.
Just to see what popped up, because there's not a lot of very popular number 18s out there. And the one name that was at the top of a lot of lists, and I didn't even really see anybody else that would be worth discussing, was old Denny Savard.
He was 18?
He wore 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
The old spin
That
around.
guy was phenomenal.
Worst helmet in hockey ever.
Had a bad lid.
A terrible
You
lid.
think it was the worst?
That bubble thing? Yeah. It looked like R2-D2.
There's nothing wrong with RTD2.
Yeah, but you don't wear it in hockey. I don't think, anyway.
That's
what was
worse
it, a
than
Winwell?
Klima's? Worse than Klima's?
Oh.
Klima had a pretty bad lid.
You know who had a bad... Anson Carter had a really bad lid.
Really?
Was that because of his hair, though?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because of the lid or the, like...
He looked like a bobblehead.
Well, it's probably because of the hair.
Because he had the hair.
Yeah. Well, Puyarvi looks like a bobblehead, too.
Yeah, I think he just got a big melon.
So do I, though. I mean,
Did you have to get an extra large
No,
helmet?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, I just got a big head, but not that. Like, and it's
was never an issue?
semi-proportionate, like, because I'm a large individual.
Yeah.
So,
How much did that help when you were getting punched in it then?
like, having a big helmet?
No, by having a big head, like, did it hurt less because you've got this huge head? I was
don't-
just wondering, like, did it help you?
I haven't had a smaller head, so I don't know.
No, but, like, did you ever talk to a guy with a small head who fought? Like, do you think never mind, this is just not a good
I mean,
conversation.
there was guys that had like I know Josh Gratton, if you remember him at all.
I don't.
He had like a thicker skull. Like he's like, 'cause he had
What?
extras in the head, so he had like more bone than normal.
Well, that seems unfair.
It was unfair.
Yeah, do you have a regular size skull?
I have never had to have an X-ray on my
Both ankles?
face or my head, aside
there's-
from like my teeth from like regular dentist checkups.
There's
so,
still
I don't
time.
know.
Domi had a huge head.
For a little guy.
Yeah.
Well, Max has a huge head too.
Yeah, he does, too.
He's got a really big head.
A really big head.
Yeah.
I wonder what that... who was the... Remember back when Oilers were playing Boston and that, I don't know, the little guy got a penalty and he had Peter's helmet in the penalty box?
And it was too big?
And it was way too big for him. He looked like Gazoo. Oh, it was so funny. Oh, God, that was good.
Okay, so Kass, before we get to the big news of Babcock, I have to say I was sitting around last night or 2 nights ago when I was watching the Oilers game, had some time to kill, and I Googled, YouTubed you trying to choke out Colby Armstrong.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find very good video of it, but then I got sucked down a Matt Cassian YouTube hole.
Well, there's the one you can see. It's in the because
I
it's
saw
the
the
line
brawl.
brawl. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
just see at the bottom, like you see just his little legs kicking.
Kicking out from underneath, because you guys were kind of in the middle
Yeah,
of
we
the
got
ice. That's
piled
where
on
you
by
went down.
everyone. And that's why I couldn't
Yeah.
hit him. So I'm like, I can't hit him. So I got to
Yeah.
choke this guy.
Who was the guy who did the initial slash? That was
Ryan
a nasty
White.
slash. To
Yeah,
get it
Ryan
going.
White.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just heard it. Like I just heard it, and I heard the crowd go.
I saw everybody turn around.
And so I was just like, what?
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
fun. But no, I watched a fight you had against Colton Orr, and you took him down early. It was a quick one. Same with Fraser McLaren. I watched a Fraser
Yeah.
McLaren fight. You took him down early, too.
I think those were both the same game.
Was it the same game?
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, so you fight Orr, and you were going back to the penalty box, and you were fired up. Like, that was a quick
Yeah.
skate to the box. And then you did, like, this little finger twirl, as you got back to the box.
Yeah.
And was that a thing you do every time you
Not
fight?
every time.
Oh, okay. Because I was watching, I was like, I wonder if that's his thing.
No, I did it. I do that. I mean, a lot of guys really don't like the fight celebrations, and I typically didn't do them. I would do them when I was just that's usually when I was.
Well, that was a
fired
big
up.
game, right? Like Sens, Leafs
in Ottawa, and I think that one was the first time. So that was like not long. I think if I'm thinking of the right.
I think it was your first one because the broadcaster was like, he's trying to prove his role.
Right after I got traded, and so it was like I was brought in because they just kicked the crap out of out of Ottawa, and so that's where they traded for me was because of that. So it was like response to those two guys in that. A lot of guys didn't like that. I didn't do it too often.
There's a good little cellular hit, like one leg up, and you're spinning.
There's
your
good ones.
like,
There's a good one actually against Edmonton, the Oilers in Minnesota. So that was a game. I had like 2 minutes and 8 or 10 seconds of ice time or something, and I got first star. Against Edmonton.
Seriously?
Yeah, against Edmonton.
In Edmonton?
No, in Minnesota. Okay. The only time I got first star in my career.
So who'd you fight?
Darcy Hordichuk.
Okay.
But then I also tried to fight Ben Eager. I got a lot of penalties.
You got first star in 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. I think it was like 8 or 10 seconds, like 2 minutes, 8
Do you
seconds.
realize that might be an NHL record?
You might be
a record holder too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look at it. Let's look. We got to look into this.
The least amount of ice time
to get first star.
That might be you.
What
Let's
podcast
check on that.
has 2 NHL record holders on it?
Whoa. Pump the brakes. We don't know that yet.
Oh, I'm pretty sure this is a record.
Tell me when somebody got a first star with less than 2 minutes.
Well, it was just over. But yeah, because this was how my night went. It was like, one shift or two, get in a fight, have a penalty. Like we were up, close game, like sit on the bench for a while, go out. I got a 10-minute misconduct. So I'm then sitting in the penalty box, like back to the bench, started the third period, get another fight. And then I can't remember if I got another 10-minute misconduct. I eventually just got kicked out. So I was sitting in the dressing room, and
they came and got
the PR guys come in, and they're just like, "Just wait, like keep your equipment on. You may get first, like you may get a star." Like and I remember they came in, they told me because they have the decibel like thing. They were like, "That was the loudest the building has been in the entirety of the season up until that point." Like, and you can see in the video, like the building's just shaking.
What a rush!
Oh, because I was going nuts because it was, and the second time, and I laugh with this about Hordy because we were buddies before this, like with Hordichuk.
Was he in Minnesota before? Wasn't he, or did he?
No,
ever
he
play
was. That was in Edmonton. Like I was playing for.
No, but did he ever play for Minnesota or
Hordichuk?
Yeah,
no.
Was he in Nashville? He was in Nashville.
He was Nashville.
Yeah, that's right.
Florida, Nashville, Edmonton.
Florida too. That's
right. But he came out at the start of the third with no elbow pads on because he thought that was going to give him an advantage, and so we laugh about that. But the building went absolutely nuts. Yeah, we need to check on that because that would be something to add to my resume. Yeah, NHL record holder.
I got some stats here for
wait
you.
A second.
So Matt Cassian in that game, I just want to know this is the correct one. You took a misconduct at 18:01 of the first period.
Yeah, sounds right.
And then you fought Hordy 11 minutes into the second.
Yeah.
And then you fought him 3 seconds into the third.
Yeah,
with no elbow pads.
He had no elbow pads. Yeah, it was right off the face off in the third, the start. And I think that was like I didn't play that much in the first. Then I got the 10-minute misconduct, came out of the box, got in a fight. Was in there for another 5 minutes. Then the period was just about to end, so I didn't go back out. Then the period ended. Then I went out, started the period, got in another fight.
You played 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
12 seconds there. Sorry, I was a little low going with the 2:08.
Oh, dude, that is great. That is great.
Yeah, I got first star. They voted because I think they allow like the fans get to vote. Like at least in that one, like they counted for part of it. And
doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's the only time I got a first star.
They can't take it away from you.
Nope.
No, that's great. So, what was the bigger rush then? The rush you would get immediately after winning a good fight or scoring a goal?
Well, scoring a goal.
Okay, still. Okay, I was wondering
because the goal happened way less frequently.
Yeah,
it's like I scored way less than I got in a fight. So.
What do you
Why
think?
Are you shaking your head at me, Gage?
No, I would have said being called out for first star after
it was a
2
huge
minutes.
rush.
That would
how'd you celebrate that?
Oh, because you get the whatever to throw the fans, so you just go and you throw it out. And I don't even remember the interview.
Did you give them like a clap and stuff?
Yeah, I gave them the wave, thank you, and
You should have done the little finger twirl like you did after that one fight.
Yeah, put the guns away.
No, but with that one, I think I gave the arm raise. Like I was just because it was loud.
Yeah,
like it was loud in the building after the
those fights. Ottawa fight?
Or no, in the ones against Edmonton, like in Minnesota. Great. Yeah,
that's a great.
Those are pretty good. Hordy didn't do so good in those ones.
No, well, he was a little bit smaller, right?
Yeah,
like shorter.
Well, he was shorter. Tough, technically, like he was pretty good. Tough as nails through bombs, like when he could land them.
He didn't mess around, like he was just chucking.
Well, he really wasn't able to Like,
No.
when I fought smaller guys, like if they didn't close the distance quickly, they were in one.
They're done?
They're in one, generally speaking. And so, yeah, he wasn't able to close. And that's where he for some reason, he thought that it was like, hey, if I move, like if I take my elbow pads off, that this will go better. And
Did you fight in a smaller guy? Did you feel like there was no winning? Like they're not supposed to
I
beat
didn't
you up?
care.
You did? I love it.
You wouldn't
You're
take
such
it
a
easier
nice
on him,
guy.
like-
You don't care. Like,
I'm still worried. Someday you're gonna just snap.
no, well, maybe.
Guaranteed. Like at some point,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride this
Yeah.
podcast thing as long as we can until you beat the shit out of both of us, and then it's
Yeah.
done. And then it's done.
Jesus.
It's just how it's gonna be.
We might have to switch seats, Dusty.
No chance. There's no chance. I'm sitting way over here. That's about it. All right, like I said, there's lots to get to in the National Hockey League. Obviously, big news, and we discussed it on the last couple episodes because we kind of figured it was going to happen at some point. Mike Babcock was fired yesterday by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sheldon Keefe, as expected, will take over. Gage, let's just start with your thoughts on the Maple Leafs, having lost 6 in a row, deciding to pull the trigger here on Babcock.
Well, it was just a matter of time. Did we come up with it first? Did
We
everyone hear?
basically broke it on Monday, and nobody was paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he's. I'm optimistic. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of a Leafs fan for some. Maybe it's just
You
as a-
watch your mouth.
Yeah, just as a kid watching the Leafs all the time. I don't mind like a Canadian team doing well. Obviously, I'm an Oilers fan too, but I'd like to see them see what happens now. I'm interested because Babcock, just the amount of stories I heard, I think I said last episode that it was only a matter of time before I think the players just have had enough. I think they got to that point, and it really looked like in that Pittsburgh game that they just quit playing for him.
Yeah, they played one more game after that, and then they pulled the trigger on him.
Yeah.
Cass, what do you think of how everything went down yesterday?
Well, I'm not surprised. We talked about it where it was gonna happen. I thought maybe he gets another couple games, but yeah, I'm not overly surprised. Don't think they have the roster construction. Is it going to get a little better? Yep, but I don't know if it's going to completely turn around. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do, and it's just all in my head. But I still think they need a little bit more oomph in their game. And but it's going to be interesting, regardless. I mean, it's good that Shanahan flew out there and that they had people out there that they did it right, even if it was on the road. Like they didn't just do it via Twitter or Skype.
Yeah.
But yeah, not overly surprising.
I want to see what the new coach, like how much it changes, right? Like how he implements Spezza and maybe a bit more, and maybe a Barry, like maybe playing in a different more minutes or something like that. I think Babcock gets something in his head pretty quick, and that's the way it is. Like I've heard a goalie coach of mine was telling me a horrible story about a kid that got called up to Detroit. Went in the third period. Detroit was like down a couple goals. They came back and won in overtime, and he stopped like 15, 16 shots for the win, shut him out. Babcock came up to him after the game and said, hey, you played really good, but I don't think you can do it on a consistent basis, so we're sending you back down. Like that's
how he said it back down. Like.
That's how he said it.
At least he's being honest.
But I think there's a time and place to say that. I think for your first NHL experience, maybe a little pat on the back doesn't.
I don't even think you need to say that at all. Just say, hey, man, good performance. We'll keep it in mind, but you're going back down. You know, like that's a personality thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
so that was just him flexing his muscle a little bit. You know, it's just listening to the Mike Commodore stories.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second.
I think that that there's a lot of truth in that.
Do you think, Cass, one of the things that made headlines out west here over the last couple of years was when Babcock was talking about how much Todd McClellan was playing Connor McDavid. Remember, he said, played him 8 minutes in the first. Nobody should play 8 minutes in the first. Kadri only played 5. It's good for me. Do you think the new coach might start playing Matthews and Marner at some of those, probably not at the level Draisaitl and McDavid play, but more than Babcock was running them out there? Like, is that the new age thing to play some of those
I think so.
guys?
You play your high-end guys if they can tolerate it, if they can deal with it. The risk to me in doing that, and this is a risk for Edmonton too, is if you don't have enough of your other guys going and building momentum and working on their seasons, the second that the playoffs hit, you're going to need everybody to chip in. And if you're only relying on only one line in the playoffs, it gets pretty tough to win.
Yeah.
Like you can do it, but it gets really tough to win. So it's like from a regular season standpoint, maybe if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs and you're Sheldon Keefe, you have to rely on those guys more.
To get you back into it.
Oh, that's true. Get out of a
that's
slump.
what I mean. Like
yeah.
get out of the slump, get you back into it. But then at what point are you going to try to involve everyone a little bit more?
Did you guys ever go through mid-season coaching changes, regardless of the league? Like, do you see a pretty good jump in energy from the guys, or did you not have to go through that anymore?
No, the only thing coaches changed was my playing.
Yeah.
That was the only change they made.
Gage, you're out. Let's get the team on track. Kass, did you ever have to deal with that?
Not mid-season.
No, not mid-season.
Not mid-season.
Yeah, I wonder how much it helps.
Yeah, I was actually.
Maybe in junior. I'm trying to think if that was mid-season or if it was after the season.
George, shoot.
Edmonton?
Yeah,
George Burnett.
George Burnett. He was up, and Low Tide, Ronnie Lowe.
Yeah.
That was funny. There was a power struggle there.
Between those two?
Yeah, it was quite humorous. I remember we were in Tri-Cities actually in preseason, and we were doing a drill, and it was just a regroup drill. Coach was dumping it in, and Low Tide was dumping the puck in, and George skated over to Low Tide, and lifted his stick, took the puck and dumped it in. And the look on, I thought they were going to fight. Low Tide, he dropped a couple expletives and skated to the other side of the ice. It was hilarious. But yeah, he didn't last that long that year. He treated everyone still like they were in junior. But yeah.
And that was it, because he was a long-time junior coach.
Yeah,
right?
he was.
Yeah, you
forever.
can't. It's different. I don't think people realize there's a difference between coaching in junior and coaching in pro. It's just you have to behave differently. You have to coach differently. And, we've talked about Kevin Constantine at length.
Yes, we have.
He is a junior coach.
Even when Tom Rennie was my coach on Team Canada, when we were in Russia, I remember we got on the plane and he had spent too much time out with the Russian Federation the night before, and he was letting loose on the plane when we were going over to another part of Russia. But he went into, when he came from Kamloops to Vancouver, how he messed up. He didn't have the experience playing with pros enough and older and men, and he ran it as a junior team, like they needed so much direction.
That's a significantly different approach. Right?
Oh yeah,
coaching a bunch of 18-year-olds and a bunch of 29-year-olds.
He says I messed up completely. Where it helped him when he went to the Rangers, right? Because he just had that much more experience with older players.
Hernan, you got something? I saw you on the mic over there.
No, I'm just holding it.
Oh, you're just holding it? Yeah, it's just like, Hernan's got a cool tidbit for us.
No, no.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so we mentioned Mike Commodore a little bit, and you guys have watched Mike Commodore in person talk about Mike Babcock. Here's what he had to say on Twitter yesterday when Babcock was fired. Folks, I've been dreaming about this moment for years. Hey, Mike Babcock, the entire Maple Leafs organization has had it with you. The players in the entire front office are sick and tired of your arrogance. # pack your shit and beat it, you piece of shit. Let that sink in, you arrogant prick. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody. Here's another one. Hey, Mike Babcock, your daily national TV time is over. Finished. You are a fraud. Nobody gives a shit about what you have to say anymore. Let that sink in, you arrogant prick. Absolutely. Mike Babcock, simply put, your players quit on you. They quit on you because you're a terrible human being. You're an average coach with an extremely oversized ego. You finally got exactly what you deserve, you selfish prick. The hockey world is ecstatic. Have you ever seen anybody hate anybody as much as Commodore hates Babcock? It's insane.
I can't do the story justice. We need to find him and get him on here to tell the story of when he signed in Detroit with Babcock. It's an awful story. I would have a lot of hate towards
right away. First impression,
just a lot of promises were made and not kept. The story is hilarious. I'm glad I was able to be privy to him telling that story a couple years ago at the Alzheimer's tournament. He had the room in stitches, but there is genuine hate for that guy.
Yeah, we don't need names, but did you guys ever dislike a teammate or a coach?
Oh, yeah.
At that much?
Oh, not that much.
No, but how would you approach it then, Gage? You just ignore the guy, stay away from him, or?
I tried to just stay away from him. Yeah, I didn't particularly like a few coaches.
Yeah.
I know they didn't like me, so
Wait a second. Stop. How could they not like you, Gage?
Well, let's say, not that I didn't like McTavish. Like I liked McTavish, but he didn't like the way I played. He liked me in the room. He told me.
Yeah.
He goes, "You're good in the room, but I can't have you on there."
At least he was honest.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
I think it all stems from. This is a bad story. Maybe I'll
No,
say
go
it.
ahead.
You sure?
I need to hear it now. You can't start with maybe it all stems from. Oh no, that's a bad story. Like,
I was so scared of McTavish this one time. So we had like when you were playing, you get 2 tickets, right? And I was single at the time, so I offered my tickets to 2 lovely ladies from Edmonton to come to the game, and that game was wife appreciation night, and so they all were in the box. And so all the wives were in the box, and I invite 2 ladies wearing headbands for miniskirts to the thing, and they're cheering, and it's free booze. So I did. Later after the game, Doug Waite comes up to me and goes, "Gager, what the fuck? What are you doing?" And I go, "What are you talking about? Those girls?" And I go, "Yeah, I know, huh?" He goes, "No, they've been in the wives' room all night." And I'm like, "No." So I get undressed. I just go home and hide because we had a few days off the next day and it was at West Edmonton Mall practice. And it's usually a night where everyone goes out. I stayed home that night because I just didn't want anyone to know. And so the next day, we're at the mall practicing, and I'm out there early, and I see Mac T get on the ice, and he's starting to skate towards me, and it can't do it justice, but I was skating away from him on the ice like he was chasing me. He'd come to one side, and I'd go to the others for the whole warm-up, and he finally cornered me like it was like a boxer cutting off the ring. And he goes, "Gager." I go, yeah, coach. He goes, "The girls in the box last night." Yeah. And I go, "Oh, Mac T, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know it was wives' night." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. Let me tell you this story back in Boston." He goes into this story where he actually picked up some girl for Halloween or something to the party. But yeah, that was a scary 24 hours, I'll tell you.
I cannot believe that on wife appreciation night,
I get 2 ladies
into
of
the
the
family
night.
room.
Yeah, right into the family room. Gator's got, and
I could
you
just
should have seen.
I could just imagine this. So obviously, the similar is like. So we had a team event in Minnesota, and I'm not going to sewer the guy, but one of the guys, it was a single guy. You know, we had like a section off, like all the wives were there, New Year's party in Minnesota. So it's like wives and like girlfriends, fiancés only, like significant others only. And this guy goes and starts bringing girls into the area. And you're just like, you just look at the looks on the eyes of the wives, like are just daggers, just daggers. And I mean, I just think of, I just can't.
I was not appreciated by anyone on that team. Every time I was like, I would go, "Hey, how's it going?" "Fine."
Yeah.
"How are you?" Like, no one was allowed to hang out with me. I was a bad person. I was fine. I mean,
guys could be like,
I don't think I even talked to those girls.
You wouldn't be allowed to go for dinner like on the road trips with the guys.
God.
Like guys would not. Yeah, they would.
Who are you with?
Wives asking like, "Yeah, who'd you go to dinner with?" I was with Joaquin. No, you weren't.
No, you didn't.
Never again.
Yeah. So
he brings that type of woman into that wives' room.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I never told you that, did I?
That's two girls wearing headbands for miniskirts. That's as you described
Into the
them.
wives'
Into
room.
the wives' room.
Let's just say they had to shave and not their legs on.
That's a front runner for the name of this podcast right
The
now.
wives' room?
Wives' room or headbands for skirts?
Headbands for miniskirts.
Oh, Gager.
I'm writing them all down. Headbands
Yeah,
for
that
miniskirts.
wasn't.
That's a good
That
one.
was terrible.
No.
man.
I mean,
it
it's
was
hilarious,
very- I
but-
got sent to the minors soon after that, so it was okay.
Man.
Oh, Gager, that is a great story. Oh my goodness. All right, let's try to reset. Where were we? What were we talking
We're
about?
talking about Commodore's tweets.
Oh
And,
yeah. So he hates Mike Babcock. That's basically
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
want to get to.
Yeah, way
Yeah,
to liven up the mood.
I couldn't. I don't know. I feel strongly about some people,
Yeah.
but I couldn't publicly. Well,
You must.
I'm not
really
going to say
hate
I'm not going to
somebody.
put it completely past myself, but it's really strong. Like, I mean, believe in this whole thing called like forgiveness and not letting a bitterness kind of sit in your life, because I think bitterness can become a problem. And, you know, then you have anger, and you feel like you're justified, and you can snap off at someone. And, you know, is it actually going to help your own life to be that angry? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And to not like someone that much, it's like your dislike for them is causing you more problems in your own personal and emotional health than that person actually maybe caused you.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I would be like, I'm just going to ignore the person or work on something else than do that. However, from a purely entertainment media perspective, it's pretty funny.
Pretty hilarious.
Yeah, one coach, Lorne Mulligan, he was coaching the minors there, and I didn't like him, but it really stems from me not playing well. So if I played better, he probably would have liked me more.
I have a coach I didn't like at all, and that's all that it was stemmed from.
You think it's easier for a coach not like the goalie, because if you're not playing well, you're completely sewering his team?
Yeah, but Lorne was an old goalie too, right? So was
You think he would have understood that?
Well, but
then?
goalies are all crazy, so
That's true.
not all of them.
He probably does.
They do crazy shit, but they're not crazy.
Name me one normal goalie.
Here, just look to your right.
I'm so normal. I invite these women to the wives' lounge. I get as a call up.
I meant for them to sit in the stands. There was actually, I remember. Oh God, I'm just suing myself. The one of the guys I ran into later, because the seats that I had for the Oilers, these two guys had season's tickets right behind them, and they kind of figure out whose seats are whose. And I ran into the guy later on, and the saddest day he said of that season was not that we had a bad year, but it was because I got sent to the minors and he didn't see the new ones that were coming in.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
Well.
All right, we're going to connect with Scott Hastings from oddshark.com. We will do that here coming up momentarily. I want to spend a little bit more time than probably we have before we connect with Scott on the 3 games for spitting. But Paul McLean, Kass, he just added to the Blue Jacket staff. I think you said earlier in the week you played for Paul McLean.
Yeah.
Do you think this will be a good thing for the
I think
Blue Jackets?
you know what he did not play me very much. I don't know how much of that was him or Brian Murray at that time. But as far as having respect for a coach, I have a ton of respect for him. So the situation in Ottawa, I think, as we've seen the last couple of years, is a complex one. And I think there was, when Daniel Alfredson left, there was some conflict between him and the leadership group about style of play and objectives. And it was, carts going the opposite direction. And I'm pretty sure for Paul McLean, it was like, either he's going to have to budge or I'm gone. And knowing that there was no really way around it. And so that's how everything went down there. But I think he's a good coach. I think he's a great coach. So I'm not overly surprised by it. He's So I think it's a decent move. You look to the future for them, like how many years does Tortorella have left? And is this a way to get someone comfortable with the group and with players in the system and with the call-ups and with everything? Then I kind of get it.
Were you there when they had the Paul McLean lookalike in the crowd?
No, yeah, it was awesome.
Was that great?
It was
what
amazing.
What was that like in the room?
I remember the first day, and everyone just started laughing, and you can just see him like he's trying not to laugh too. Like, he's just sitting there trying not to laugh. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite. Like, there's been a lot of times in playoffs when there's been an excellent rack behind the coach. But for me, my favorite thing ever was lookalike Paul McLean.
Oh, lookalike Paul McLean is the best.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
That's almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
That was great. All right, so Chris Abbott is no longer with Oddshark. He's moved on to another gig in Toronto. He'd been joining us on Thursdays. Now we're going to be joined by Scott Hastings from oddshark.com. And we were talking about it earlier. Chris Abbott was a huge fan of Joaquin Gage, so we were hoping that Scott might have at least be a little bit familiar with Matt Cassian, who, of course, is our other co-host here. Let's bring in Scott today. Scott, appreciate the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, and maybe if I shave my head, I could be a lookalike Chris Abbott.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, jeez. There's a shot of Chris Abbott. I like it. That works out extremely well. You've never shaved your head?
No, that's not my style. He's got that under control.
Yeah, he does. He does have good grips on that one. Let's start with your thoughts on the Babcock firing and Sheldon Keefe taking over and what it might mean for some bettors who want to make some money off the Leafs here in the near future.
Yeah, well, I think the move had to happen at some point. I was sort of thinking that Babcock would ride out the rest of the season, another first round exit to Boston, and then he'd ride off in the sunset. But Dubas and the team had other ideas, and I think Sheldon Keefe will be able to get these young players playing at a high level. And they're an underdog tonight at Arizona, so might be a little play there. But I really think we already saw that Tyson Berry is going to move up on the top power play unit with Morgan Riley. So that's definitely going to create more offensive opportunities on a struggling power play. So I like where the Leafs are headed now.
Yeah, I like it because I have Tyson Berry in one of my hockey pools, and he's killing me. So if they can get him on the power play, I think that would be absolutely terrific. When you look at Babcock, and I think I saw some odds that were emailed to myself and you a little bit earlier on about where he might end up next. Is there a place that you like as far as something we could bet on right now, or do you think it's going to be a spot where it might take a little while before he's back coaching in the National Hockey League?
Yeah, it's interesting. Bovada put out some odds there, and they also coincide with who's the next head coach to leave their post. And there wasn't any real names that I thought would be an immediate dismissal. I think John Cooper was an interesting one there in Tampa Bay. Did that early exit last year, which was an absolute disaster, and then a slow start into this season. That could be a potential. I can't see it going mid-season or anything, but I think there's a potential there. But really, Seattle's probably my favorite play at plus 350 there. 3.5 to 1. They're going to want to try and make an impact. He's a big name, Olympic gold medal, Stanley Cup winner, all that sort of stuff. So that'd be another year and a half away. I just don't really see him sliding anywhere in between that.
Guys, what do you think about Seattle for a landing spot for Babcock?
Ooh, that's.
Anybody?
I don't think it's. I don't.
You don't think so?
No. In my pure opinion, no.
Gager?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
The reason I was thinking about this was, he had a lot of high-end skill in Toronto, and it didn't really seem to jive too well with him. Not going to have that in Seattle.
No,
you're going to be trying to put together a team that can grind out some wins. Maybe that would be something that might work for him. I don't know.
Maybe just being more part of the decision process of what's available and what type of team he wants to put together with who's there, Francis,
Ronnie
right?
Francis, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that might entice him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that'd be something interesting to look at. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking as well. It's just having his fingerprints on developing the team right from the expansion draft right onto the system that he wants to play. Taking over a team anywhere, you're going to be stuck with the players that you got, whereas then he might have a little more availability to pick and choose and have that availability to play with his system. That's sort of why I thought Seattle might be a good spot for him.
Scott, I had a question. Like before the firing, I think the Leafs are in the desert tonight.
Yeah.
Did the odds of Toronto go up to win that game just because usually we see a boost in play from a team that does have their coach fired? I wonder if that had any effect on the betting line.
Yeah, I didn't really see much of a movement. It was sort of surprising to see them open as a dog there in Arizona. Just looking at the line right now, and that's the wrong thing. Your money line. Yeah, so they did slightly increase, but they went from plus 110 to minus 105. So they're still a bit of an underdog there in Arizona. It's interesting. NHL had on their website that the Leafs' last two new head coaches lost, and that was Babcock and Peter Horacek in 2015. So there's a bit of a small trend, but they're 0-2 in their last two new starting coaches. The last one to win was Randy Carlisle back in 2012. So a little interesting there for the bettors. I can't hang my hat on two games.
Man, I can't believe I've completely forgot about Peter Horacek.
Yeah.
Who you just mentioned there. How about the Horacek era? Yeah, that was absolutely excellent. Hey, convince me that I shouldn't bet on the Oilers at plus 120 against the Kings in regulation tonight. Like that seems like a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I looked at the line, money line at minus 130 against the Kings. Kings are absolute dumpster fire. They can't score. There's not much in the way of defense either. So that looks like a complete slam dunk. but the line is so low that scares me. It's a little tricky. That it's like that line, in my opinion, should be somewhere in that 165, 170 range there for Edmonton. So it looks like a slam dunk, but usually when that happens, it bites us in the rear end.
Scott, anything else you're looking at heading in the weekend? Are there any trends that we should be hopping on?
Well, just we released there earlier today the under trend in Dallas. You know, the Stars always a great underplay. You know, they can't score. They have all the talent in the world, but they just can't seem to do it. And defensively, they just clamp down. So that's one of my favorite plays is just riding the unders for Dallas.
All right, Scott, thanks a lot, man. Looking forward to chatting with you moving forward. We'll catch up next Thursday.
Thanks, Scott.
Excellent. Have at her.
There you go. That is Scott Hastings from Oddshark. I guess it's Hastings probably. Scott Hastings from oddshark.com. Check them out at oddshark.com.
Hey, he's no Chris Abbott, but
he was good.
He's good. He's got a way better connection than Chris Abbott.
That's true.
No dog barking in the
no
background.
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's it's a good choice.
I didn't want to tell you this, but he texted me earlier and says, just so you know, I hate walking Gage. Like, he's
all right.
the exact opposite.
We can have a professional
He was
relationship.
the 1-star reviewer.
Yeah, that's right. Gage is a bum. Oh, we had somebody review the podcast that wanted me to ask you about running hills. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Where's that?
I know who
in,
that is.
In BC?
Yeah, that was in BC. So I was went on a road trip with some friends for a wedding in the middle of the summer, and still wanted to, like, it was mid-summer training, so went out with a bunch of guys and trained. And Derek Grant was there. I think he's still playing. Riley Emerson. So big, I don't know if you Google Riley Emerson. He's a beauty. He's probably listening to this too, so he's gonna text me afterwards. But so went out with Riley, and his brother was a trainer training a bunch of athletes, and so we went out and ran hills, and there was this like 11 or 12-year-old girl that just destroyed us. I think it was at the stairs. Like, I think one day we did hills, one day we did stairs, like explosive stairs, or it may have just been like endurance, like just a buttload of them, and she just crushed us. Like, weighs like 50 pounds and is just like ding 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 up and down the stairs.
What a
and we're
show
just
off.
Yeah, I'm like a big lumbering giant of a man, and I will say this about Riley. Just so really good friends, like with Riley, comes from a family of giants. So they're all like 6'5", 6'7", like 6'9". Riley married his wife is like 6'6" or so, like she's or 6'5", like she's really really tall. So their babies are just massive too. But their whole household. Like, and his dad's a retired RCMP guy out in Abbotsford. Their house, because they custom built it, they built it themselves. Like, everything is built for people that are giants. And for the first time in my life when I went there, and it was that trip because they had just moved in, like it was still pretty new, and that's where I was staying. And I slept in a bed where I'm like, oh, this is what normal people feel like when they sleep in a bed.
That'd be great. Your feet weren't hanging over the edge?
Feet were hanging over the edge. In the shower, I'm just like, this is what normal people must feel like in the shower. Like the size of the doors. I'm like, this is what normal people feel like walking through doors. And even at the dinner table, because the table's like bigger than normal.
Your feet dangling and kicking?
No, I'm just like, it was a comfortable, I had a good hip. Like my hip to leg, the angle was proper. I'm like, this is how like comfortable, and it's like it was a good, like I wasn't spilling food. I think I have this theory that I'm a horrible messy eater because the tables are always too low. I'm like, they're so far away from me where it's just like the distance between the plate and my mouth is so far. Of course I'm going to spill on myself. Where this is like the normal size table, so I'm like, oh, I can actually eat and not make a big mess here.
You're right at home.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need bigger cutlery.
That
bigger
probably
spoon.
would help too. I just spit everywhere. Speaking of spitting everywhere.
That's why we got these bad boys.
I did. I saw a little piece come out of my mouth. Speaking of that.
So are we segueing?
Yeah, we're segueing right into halfway, getting
Nicely done.
3 games for spitting
3
intentionally
games
at
too
least.
much for spitting?
No,
that's gross.
it's yeah, no.
You could get 2 games for a headshot, and you're gonna get 3 games for spitting. I'm agreeing with you guys. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, stop spitting on people, but
because headshot, it's like, was he trying to have a headshot? Like, was it intentional? Was it unintentional? It happened so fast. Spitting is like you have to. And spit. Like my experience with spitting in hockey was in junior in Spokane. After a game, going off the ice, a fan spit on me. And then I just looked up, like dripping down from the visor, and then he dumped a beer at me. My first instinct was to hit him with a stick, but then I'm like, it's somewhere in the back of my mind there was like, you will go to jail or this will be really bad. So I grabbed a water bottle because it was just stepping off the bench and threw it as hard as I could at him, and I missed him. I didn't hit him with it. And then the linesman grabbed me and pulled me off, and I got a gross misconduct.
Dude, what happened to you? Like, you're
but then I got like they relinquished the gross misconduct because the lineman testified, and because when we got off, I turned and I showed him. I'm like, there's spit dripping down from my thing. I'm like, I just got spit on. Like, what do you want me to do? Hit the guy with my stick? Because that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah,
but yeah. To me, it's really derogatory. It's unnecessary, and don't. Yeah.
Did you ever get spit on or anything? Like,
Oh, probably. Yeah.
you were too focused. You
I sometimes, I think it was other players though, because sometimes guys would be sneaky spitters because I'd look down at my pads and there'd be some big loogie on there.
But
I'm
that's
like,
yeah. Well, no, that's not different. That's still.
it's still gross. But I would spit on guys.
But
on
if it's
their
like an
skates and
accident,
stuff.
if it's
Yeah.
an accident, it's an accident. But yeah, not intentionally right in someone's
yeah,
face. That,
no.
to me,
I got spit on playing ball hockey right on my cheek, right on my face.
Oh,
It was disgusting. It was disgusting. And I ended up, shouldn't have done this. This is why I don't play ball hockey anymore. We're going through shaking the handshake line, and I jumped him. I said, this guy's not going to spit on me. That's bloody gross.
Yeah.
So all hell broke loose, but we were playing at the Garrison. So the refs break us all up, whatever. And we were in the same change room. So both teams go to the same dressing room. Like, we're sitting on one side, they're sitting on the other side. It was just, it was
But
that was
awkward.
gross. Like, I turned around and he just, boom, spit right on my cheek. Oh,
Yeah.
it almost went in my mouth, which would have been disgusting. Absolutely gross. Popeye's chicken poll question.
right into food. Let's get
Yummy. Try Popeye's legendary Louisiana chicken today. Who will be the next head coach fired? Let's speculate on people's futures. Bill Peters down in Calgary, Bruce Boudreau in Minnesota, John Hines in New Jersey, or other. You heard Scott mention John Cooper. I think Cooper's like plus 600. I think Bruce Boudreau right now plus 125 is the odds-on favorite to get canned.
John Cooper in Tampa? Who's John Cooper?
Yeah, John Cooper in Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Really?
going to get fired, but you
No.
can bet on that. You can bet on that right now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't buy it. That's why I put other on here. as opposed
yeah,
to Cooper.
Bill Peters.
You think so? Even ahead of Bruce Boudreau?
Yeah. Like what? Like, Minnesota, you didn't expect to be like a big playoff team this year.
No, that's true.
Calgary, you do. They keep losing. I've by the way, since between Monday and today, I've flipped even more to where I was kind of doubtful whether Calgary was going to turn around, and now I'm just like, there's no way.
You've
They're
just
done.
been slowly.
I was so positive for so long, and
Now
now I'm
you're
just like, no,
firing the
they're
coach.
done.
Yeah.
I think they will.
I agree with you, Kass. I think that with Bill Guerin in Minnesota, he's going to give old Filthy Bruce at least to the end of the year.
Yeah,
And
he's
go
an
from
off-season one, I think.
Yeah, give him 1 year. Okay,
Yeah.
this is not going to work. And then
Yeah.
he'd get scooped up probably.
And then
somewhere
he gets a year. It's almost like a free pass for him this year, just to totally evaluate the team, and he can see it. And,
For
Well,
Guerin?
he's-
yeah,
Yeah.
Hernan, we posted this poll question on Twitter. What are the results looking like right now? Because I feel it's probably Bill Peters.
I'd
but what
say
do we got?
Peters.
Yeah, and just first of all, Tammy Nielsen joined in on her Facebook, so sit up straight, stop swearing, Dusty.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, 245 votes in. Peters leads at 47%. Boudreau second at 27%. John Hines at 24%, and then other at 2%.
Ooh. So there's a chance.
There's a
2%.
chance.
Yeah, there's 2% chance of others. All right, let's see. We've hit on a lot of that stuff. Oh, quickly, the Oilers. I see Matt Benning's going to be out 2 to 3 games. Just saw that on Twitter. Adam Larson's going to slide in to play the Kings. He's going to play with Chris Russell. Caleb Jones will keep playing with Oscar Klefbom for now. How much, Kass, do you think it helps that the Oilers actually kind of have some depth on the blue line thanks to Ethan Bear and Caleb Jones being
It's
able to play
great.
them? It's insane, right?
It's great.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a while.
It's great. Yeah, and Caleb Jones still needs more proving time.
Yeah, for sure,
I think at
yeah.
this point in the season, it's fair to say Ethan Bear has proved himself thus far. But great to see. I am impressed.
Gager as a goalie, it's got to be nice knowing that there's not 4 guys from the American League having to come up and save your season.
Yeah, no, that's a bonus. Sorry, I blanked out there.
I was gonna say, what are we? The Winnipeg
No,
Jets.
I was looking up Caleb Jones and his. You ever see his mom's Twitter account?
No.
Wow.
Okay.
I have Gage. I know what you're talking
Good. It's good stock.
good
He
stuff.
comes from good stock. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. But did you invite her to the wives' room?
That's
or-
what I'm saying. Yeah, come on.
I would.
All right. Sport clips, haircuts, keep it or clip it. And they are set up this year as a 630 Ched Santa's Anonymous approved drop-off location. So that's really nice. Down at Ellerslie Landing, it's the one location here in Edmonton for sports clips, haircuts. They were telling me the other day that when they had the Grey Cup there, it was their best day that they've had so far. So if you're going to be heading down to Sport Clips and look as good as we do, then take down something for 630 Ched's Santa Anonymous as well. All right, let's whip through this. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things for Keep It or Clip It. Let's start with this. Sheldon Keefe will get the Leafs into the playoffs without any other significant roster moves. Keep it or clip it.
Am I first, Kass?
Yep.
I'm gonna clip it. I think they're done. I don't think they can pull off a situation with that St. Louis did last year. I think that's one of the reasons they did it now. They're looking at the blueprint of St. Louis. They think they have the team that can do it. But as we mentioned last episode, I don't think the construction's good enough to be a consistent, good, hard-nosed playoff team. It's I don't think there's anything that they can do with that roster right now.
Kass?
Yeah, well, worst case scenario right now, they're 23 games, 22 points. First wild card is Pittsburgh with 25 points, 21 games. So let's just say they're 5-7 points out of it. It's still a pretty significant.
And isn't Tampa behind them and has like 5 games in hand or something?
Yeah, Tampa's behind them with 5 games in hand. So I guess
crazy.
you could be even worse than that.
Yeah.
New York is 2 points behind them with 4 games in hand, so that they could pass them too. So there could be the teams in front of them could be the issue, like having to leapfrog that many teams. If they do, it's not because of Sheldon Keefe. It's because that they have some really high, scoring players. As we talked about, they were going to have to, play Matthews and Marner a butt ton. But I'm going to say clip it at this point. I don't think they're getting there. Which is another shift for me because both them and Calgary, I'm like, they're going to turn it around. They're going to turn around. And now maybe it's just a negative week where I just want to be like, everybody's losing.
Man, we're only not even through November yet. You're flip-flopping on all these teams.
It's not flip-flopping. I stuck with it for a couple months where they struggled for months. And I'm just like, no, they're going to turn around. They're going to turn around. And now finally it's like the dog days of November where I'm like,
so it's not
no,
flip-flopping. It's just strictly giving up.
It's giving up hope. I have given up hope. It's just there's no sun outside, and it's dark and getting cold. And
all right, number 2, it is on Johnny Gaudreau to get the Flames back on track. Keep it or clip it.
Clip it, or keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
He's their best guy, right?
Yeah, he's their best player. It falls on him and Giordano. It's your two main guys. You gotta turn around.
Yeah, keep it. He's I'm sure he wants to be considered a premier player in the league, which he is. But you want to be counted on to make the ultimate difference to your team, and that's making the playoffs, winning series, and eventually winning a Stanley Cup. He has to after his performance throughout the start of the year, just not being as proficient at scoring as he has been in the past, and a really subpar playoffs last year, almost non-existent. I think they only go as far as he can take them.
All right, question number 3 for Sport Clips haircuts, keep it or clip it. And this is because the NHLPA has filed a grievance on his behalf. Dustin Byfuglien will never play another game for the Jets. Keep it or clip it.
Keep it. He's done.
Yeah. He's
done.
He's a stay-at-home defenseman.
Yep. I thought
he's a stay-at-home forever.
Yeah, stay-at-home forever. I thought he was going to just try to, weasel through training camp and not have to do training camp and fitness testing and all that stuff, and then come back. And I was wrong.
And then all of a sudden, the ankle surgery happened.
And it's more. So I think he's done.
All right, peanut butter is the best spread to put on a sandwich. Keep it or clip it.
Where did you come up with this?
I want to see what Gage says for this one. Dusty, what are you gonna do?
I came up with this because
I know, but what do you think?
Oh, keep it. I love peanut butter. If I could meet the person, this is why I was having peanut butter sandwich the other day, and I said if I could meet the person who invented peanut butter, I'd give him a kiss right on the lips.
Oh, peanut butter is delicious.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say peanut butter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip it, and let me tell you why.
Oh no.
Well, what's better? You got to give me something better than peanut butter.
So, how many types of sandwiches can you make with peanut butter?
So many.
So like what? Peanut butter jam, peanut butter honey, peanut butter banana.
Yeah,
what else?
Peanut butter meat.
That's all of them. Yeah, that's all. So you're restricting yourself to 3. So when I'm looking at this and I go the best spread to put on a sandwich, you got to think like versatility. Like, how many different types of sandwiches can I put this on? What all does it go with? So I'm going to go, and I know there's some people that hate this.
Don't say mustard.
No, I thought about mustard.
I was coming across the table.
No, I was going to say mayo. And the reason is this is like you can have it on an egg sandwich, you can have it on a ham sandwich, you can have it on a turkey sandwich, you can have it on a club sandwich, you can put it on so many different types of sandwiches. You can put it on the outside of a grilled cheese and then grill your grilled cheese with mayo on the outside instead of butter. Like, it's the most versatile, I think, across most of the sandwich toppings. So,
and I've never done that with the grilled cheese before. I always use butter.
you can use mayo. Here, it works.
No, it's the best. Keep it.
You
can put it on chicken, beef, fish.
I always thought
peanut butter fish, like chicken. Yep.
A peanut butter
pork,
saute with grilled salmon.
Well, I guess. Well,
Right,
yeah,
sausages
maybe. I
and
guess.
stuff?
Yeah.
peanut butter burger. A peanut butter burger is delicious.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't doubt that it can be, because really what it is, it's fat.
I can
right?
see
So it
how
tastes good 'cause it's fat.
versatile. And
Mayo's
so is
more
mayo.
Mayo's more
But
versatile than peanut butter.
No.
If mayo and peanut butter had a fight, mayo would win.
Did you ever try whipped peanut butter? It's a lighter peanut butter.
All it is just whipped peanut butter. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
why wouldn't you just have regular peanut butter?
You know what makes me mad is my mom, like, she used to buy that Adams peanut butter, that
Brutal.
that healthy stuff.
Hey, my wife. Well, that's what my wife and my kids eat. I have to
Really?
buy it, and then you have to mix it around.
Oh man,
it's gross.
My friends had the Skippy Crunchy. Oh, that was golden with the chunks of peanuts in there.
Okay, so here's a question: smooth or
Smooth.
Well, I like it chunky.
See, I'm a chunky guy. My wife likes it smooth.
Oh, ew.
All right, let's move along.
You guys, that's not how I meant it at all.
Jeez, Kass,
Bunch
keep
of
it clean.
perverts.
We've been saying the whole time, 18 episodes in, you're a dirty, filthy man.
Oh, wow.
All right, the Oilers need one more top six forward to be considered a true cup contender.
Clip it. I think I have faith in what they got. I like Jujar right now. He's firing on all cylinders. I think they have enough. They just, of course, the top guys are going to get a lot of attention, but I think they're built properly enough that their bottom six, when the time comes, I think they'll be able to chip in offensively. Their bottoms, they're little buzzsaws. You know, I think when you put out that third and fourth line when they're all healthy. They're a good body punch to the other team to start wearing them down with speed and aggressiveness. I don't think so.
Kass?
I'm going to clip it for different reasons. I think you need a top four defenseman.
Okay, so
or top
they
two
need something
defensemen,
else.
really.
Okay.
They need something else. Their defense, as we talked about, way
forward.
more depth. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying clip it.
He's clipping it and saying it's.
I'm saying it should be a defenseman.
Oh, that's never mind.
Yeah, top. Like the emergence of Ethan Bear and Caleb Jones playing really well is great, and it helps. And I think it helps over the course of the regular season. Adam Larson coming back, that's going to be a huge boost. He can play in your top player, play some really tough minutes. But I still think to win in the playoffs in the NHL, you need to have an absolute stud, and they don't have that at this point.
I was going to say, because what do you see Oscar Klefbom as then? Like a number two defenseman? Like,
He's a
'cause he
solid
played
top pairing guy.
31 minutes
Yeah,
the other night,
he's
yeah.
a solid top pairing guy. But if you think of someone, when you think of Oscar Klefbom, do you think this guy is going to anchor my blue line and play 30 minutes? He'll play 32 minutes if he needs to in the playoffs every single game.
No, I don't see him as Drew Doughty in his prime.
Right.
Which
You don't see him as
is
Drew
what you're
Doughty
looking
or as
for,
Chris
yeah.
Pronger or as Eric
Yeah.
Carlson or as Brent Burns or as
I do like him, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not. That's not. Please don't get me wrong. That's not a knock on their defensemen. I think their defensemen have been playing stellar, and Klefbom's a good defenseman, very good defenseman. Larson is a very good defenseman that's coming back. Ethan Bear has been playing phenomenal. Like he's playing great. He's gonna be fun to watch and continue to grow, and I think eventually be a really good power play defenseman as well. Could be a potentially big upside for Caleb Jones, but good defensemen versus like great defensemen, there's still there's a good gap there when you look at what some players are capable of. I mean, you want to talk about Tampa and some other teams where you have like a Headman,
Victor Hedman,
or teams that go deep in the playoffs. Last year, even St. Louis is like, well, they had like 3 or 4 guys, but like a Pietrangelo, like there's always that like top tier, and Klefbom's close, but I could
That's
think they
fair.
just
No,
could
Do you
use
I
think
it more.
Clefbaum could win a Norris Trophy this year? Possibly.
Clefbaum? No,
No,
no.
You think he's playing that well?
he's got a lot of points.
He does have a lot of points.
and he's
Playing a ton.
like I'm looking at. He's making a huge difference. I heard someone talking like he's played with multiple different guys and made them better. And I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking about it the other day. If because I do think to win a Stanley Cup, you need someone who's nominated for the Norris that year, right? They have
Somebody
to play
who's
that.
playing their best hockey.
Yeah. I wonder if he could.
The one quick thing I'll just say quickly about Clefbaum is that last year they weren't bad until they lost him and their season fell apart.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
he was pretty important to them. All right, let's go with this one. Craig McTavish will really enjoy spending the holidays with Dusty in Switzerland. Keep it or clip it.
Keep it. How could you not?
Yes, exactly. And Paul Coffey's coming too.
Go keep it. You have endless stories of me to talk about.
Yes,
with him.
that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, so we both have this disgust.
You can ask,
for
ask
Gager.
him. Remember this time?
Yeah,
when
I'm gonna
Gager
ask him
invited
about
these.
the girls in the wives room. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really funny. All right, Shea Weber can sustain his current 63-point pace for the Habs. Keep it or clip it.
He's gonna keep playing on the power play.
A ton, right?
Yeah, I think you keep it.
Yeah, keep it.
That's a great
with
season,
that shot.
man. Like
He's still quite mobile too. Like I keep it.
when they first traded PK Subban to get Shea Weber as a Habs fan, I was pretty ticked off at the time. But you see what Weber brings to the table.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you watch him play, and you're just like, damn it, he's still good.
Yeah, I wasn't. There was a lot of people that were really upset with that, and I wasn't. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
you're getting a guy
Shea
that
Weber, man.
you're getting Shea Weber, who's in there like, well, he's older, and then the points. And I went, yeah, but he's not going to be a guy that doesn't take care of himself. A type of older, like, and yeah, maybe he slows down over time, but he's still going to be able to give you log good minutes.
Well, he never had
He's
a game
got
that relied on speed anyway,
No,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
and he's got
Yeah.
a bomb on the power play. Like he's still be a shooter, still produce points, and from a dressing room standpoint, he is gonna hold your team together.
And he's
so.
mean as a snake too. He's sneaky.
I
mean.
fought him once.
Did you?
You
Yeah,
fought Weber?
he was in junior. Yeah, he our Swiss player Yannick Steinman. He absolutely crushed him, and so I hopped the boards and went after him.
Really? Did
Like
you?
it was like there was a line change. Like someone came off
Okay.
the ice and I hopped on. Like it wasn't like I just didn't go straight
So
over.
did you square off or did you jump him?
You
jumped him.
It wasn't like he had opportunity. He knew
Okay.
it was coming.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I grabbed him like without him seeing it. He knew it was coming.
So he hates you too.
Probably.
Yeah. that's
Did you
tough.
turn him into butter?
It wasn't like
Shea butter.
I mean, he's a big, strong guy. So it wasn't like I don't think he hit me, if I recall. I mean, this is a lot of years ago, so I would have to watch again and tell you. But I don't recall me like just beating the snot out of him. But I don't recall him really hitting me either.
All right, let's wrap up with one last question. Let's do this one to wrap up. Licking is just as gross as spitting. Keep it or clip it.
Depends on the website.
What's with you guys today?
I'm sorry, Mom. I'll just leave it at that.
Well,
Keep it.
Let's wrap up the episode. Kass, anything to add?
No.
No, I didn't think so. All right, so that's going to do it for episode 18, Headbands for Miniskirts.
Yeah.
Presented to you by Oddshark. Check them out at oddshark.com. Popeyes, legendary Louisiana chicken, and Sport Clips Haircuts, home of the MVP experience. For Hernan and Cassian and Gager, I'm sorry. I'm Dustin Nielsen. We'll be back on Monday.